put a couple of questions to the floor. If anybody has any questions in relation to the contents of the film and what we discussed earlier on in relation to the silent coup d'etat that's happening in Ireland with a group called Common Purpose, and the fact that the government is a registered corporation trading for profit. I think a couple of people missed that earlier on. So has anybody any questions in relation to how we're going to reverse this situation? Anybody any questions about any of it?
Sorry, when you say it's trading for profit, is it in relation to paying interest to the European Central Bank, or is there money going elsewhere? Or do you mind expanding on what exactly you mean by that?
Well, I know the guys are going to explain the money situation in the afternoon, but essentially there's no money. There is no money. It doesn't exist. But it's created through a birth certificate that's turned into bond, which is put on the stock exchange.
See, isn't it, that's where the only resource left, isn't it, that they use?
Yeah, that's why we're called human resources. And this terminology is being used every day in the week. That's why they call the courts the commercial courts. That's why you can't get justice in the courts. Because the courts are under the jurisdiction of the bar, which is the British Accreditation Registry. So they're sworn to London primarily and secondly to the Constitution. So essentially we have to get rid of the bar out of our country. And this is what happens in the court when the judge says, if you acknowledge the fact that you're Mr. Bloggs, for example, and you stand in the court, the judge says, are you Mr. Bloggs? And you say yes. You've handed over jurisdiction to the judge over you. And he says, do you understand the charges preferred against you? And you say yes. Before that there were allegations, you turned them into charges by saying you understand. Because you're saying that you stand under his alleged jurisdiction over you. Now, McIntyre could be very interesting. Clipped it here sometime in the afternoon. I think he was in the court for 47 seconds or something like that. Something crazy. He didn't contract with the judge. It was on I think it was a driving offence or something like that. See, offences are not breaking the law, they're only breaking rules and regulations in a corporation. So he didn't contract by saying he was Mr. Bloggs. He said he was a free man on the land. He was the authorised agent or representative of the legal fiction. And he released the court of its duty to perform as consideration, and the judge says, thank you very much. Next. You get a tax. A lot of people are saying, well, how do I get rid of the tax? Well, essentially, you don't contract. If you get a tax, a brown envelope in the post, and you have a Harrow on the tax, you have a collector, you're going to get that offer of contract in the post box, because if you have a post box on your letter, your doorway, it's an offer of contract. So what you say is, you don't even open it. You write across the envelope, I do not recognise you, I do not understand your intent, and I do not wish to contract. And you put that unopened brown envelope, which is in capital letters anyway, with a title of Mr. or Mrs., which is only your legal fiction. It's a piece of paper. And you put it back in the post box, and that's the end of it. Bye-bye, taxman. Now, the Wizard of Oz tried to explain that to us, because that's what the straw man was about, and that's what the Tin Man was about, the tax identification number. And Toto, the little dog that was barking, he pulled back the curtain and exposed the wizard of the Oz, which was the ounces of gold around the whole money system. And the yellow brick road represented the ingots of gold into the Emerald City, the capital city. That's why it's called capital city. Every country is a capital city. It's all about money. So that's essentially the guts of getting rid of your tax liability. You don't have them unless you contract with them. So essentially the laws about contract or not. So you have a choice not to contract. That's the freedom you have, because you're born free.
I'm of an understanding that with the recent bailouts that have gone on around the world with regards to money like in American airlines, 2% trillion, whatever. Do you think that they are trying to remain in bankruptcy in order to because there's no substance in money, in the fiat currency that exists that we use? Do you believe that they're trying to stay in bankruptcy by putting us into debt, and so substance can't come back into money again, like gold or have money back like silver? I don't know if I explained this.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a head.
Yeah,
it's made complicated. As Brian would say, man's ability to complicate simplicity never ceases to amaze.
Didn't we get into bankruptcy right after they took substance out, then it became a state of bankruptcy, it just got worse and worse?
Yeah, all countries, we're all operating under bankruptcy, every country in the world. And Kennedy was shot like Lincoln because he wanted to reintroduce the gold standard back to currency. So it couldn't be bubbled, inflated. Because the only way the money's created is with your signature. Once you sign that debt, you become what's known as an undertaker. So you're the undertaker of your own debt. And that's why undertakers deal in debt. So when you undertake a loan, you stand under that debt. And you sign your own debt warrants. So if you're signing contracts, if you're signing anything, look at the small print. If you look on a checkbook, it's not all lines, it's text, a lot of it's text, microtext. So you need to look at your driving license. If you turn on the back, the organ donor, it's microtext print. You need a microscope to have a look at this, and you see a small fine text to say that you're handing over your organs to the Department of Environment.
Which is probably another corporation, because most government departments are corporations anyway.
No, the Department of Environment is a corporation trading for profit, like the government is. If you Google Dun & Bradstreet, and I know Kevin and Dan is going to do a lot of this in the afternoon, you're going to be very enlightened in the afternoon about all this stuff. If you Google, use Dun & Bradstreet for anything, and you'll see that all the governments in the world are corporations.